So we just finished the last hospitality break of the event. Our energy is really high. We're both going in there for these last 4 rounds expecting to do good things. And North opened a club, and I faced a common problem. Again, I have 15 points in a balanced hand, and I have a club stopper. And I have to decide whether my hand's best suited to overcall a good 15 to 18 one-no trump. So really, when I was thinking about how I was going to describe how I made my decision, I find it very difficult to really pinpoint what made my decision. But the thing that really stands out to me is I'm 4 spades and 4 diamonds. So I have a really nice hand for if I do pass, it looks to me like it's likely that South is going to bid hearts, and I'm going to have a really good chance of making a takeout double later. And my hand is very suit-oriented. If my partner has 4 spades, I would way rather be playing in spades than in no trump. And if my partner has 4 diamonds, I think I'd rather be playing in diamonds as well. So I decided that it was not worth a one-no trump overcall. I thought it was very close, but those reasons I just gave were really what stood out. And so they did, in fact, respond to heart, and they did, in fact, raise to 2 hearts. And so now I got to make my perfect takeout double. Now, it's important to note that this takeout double actually doesn't specifically say I have spades and diamonds. It's a little different from an auction. If it had just gone a club past a heart, and I acted with double in that direct seat, now I would be saying, partner, I have a takeout double of clubs and hearts. What's different about this auction is I have a hand that couldn't act over 1 club. Now, most of the time when I can't act over 1 club, it's because I have lengthened clubs. So this double, actually, it doesn't say that I have spades and diamonds per se. It actually says I have a takeout double of hearts. And so what that means is I might have a distribution like 4 spades, 1 heart, 3 diamonds, and 5 clubs. So this isn't emphasizing that I have takeout for spades and diamonds. It's just emphasizing I have a takeout double of hearts. So now Joel bid 2-no trump, which couldn't possibly be natural, and so he was asking me to choose a minor. And it's important that I remember that since my takeout double didn't imply that I have diamonds, that Joel doesn't know I have 4 diamonds yet. Had I promised 4 diamonds, then when Joel's 2-no trump bid, I would actually tend to offer clubs as my favorite place to play, because if Joel wanted to play in diamonds knowing I had 4 diamonds, then he would have done it himself. So, but in this case, I don't feel like I've shown my diamonds, so I think it's imperative that I bid my diamonds. So I bid 3 diamonds, and that ended the auction. So South led the jack of spades, and dummy hit with this. You know, Joel had a perfect 2-no bid. I mean, he was catering in case I was something like 4-2-2-5 or even 4-1-3-5. He was just making sure that we played our best fit. Or even 4-2-3-4. It looked like our 4-4 club fit was going to be the best place to play. So they led the jack of spades, and immediately my first instinct when I have this many clubs is that South didn't lead a singleton club, so they probably don't have a singleton club. So given that South almost 100% has at least 2 clubs, I can narrow down North's shape very well, and we'll see how that comes into play a little bit later. So I saw no reason for me to. So the first thing I did was I ran the spade around and I won the queen. Now it looked like I really wanted to draw trumps. I didn't want to start playing clubs, which was the only suit that I really needed to attack, before South's trumps were drawn. So I played a low spade, and this is something that is a common mistake for intermediate players. Is some people feel compelled to cash the ace of spades in the spot before they trump a spade to dummy. But in the actual fact, it's much better for you to just trump a little spade and keep the ace of spades for later. The ace of spades is not going to be discarding anything important from dummy, and all you're doing really is taking away control of the suit. And just to go back to a concept that we touched on much earlier in the day, was that because I have 4-1 in spades, and my opponents have neither one of them have bid spades, I can actually immediately deduce that spades are 4-4. And the reason for that is that North didn't open 1 spade, so he can't have 5. And South didn't respond to spades, so they can't have 5. And so the spades must be 4-4. That's a small inference. So now I led the queen of diamonds from dummy, and it went around and lost to the king. And South won, and now they played another trump back. And boom, North showed out a hearts, and that information was just crucial to finishing the whole puzzle of North's distribution. we go back to the inference that I don't believe South has a singleton club, that means that North has 4-4-1-4, because once North only has 4 clubs and has 1 diamond, they can't have a 5-card major, so they must be 4-4-1-4. So that's in the bank. I know the whole distribution of the whole hand. I know, because I know North's distribution, I know South's distribution. South is 4-4-3-2. And there's really not that much left on this hand. What I want to do is my hope on the hand is I'm probably going to end up guessing the Jack of Clubs. And I'm going to play North to have the Jack of Clubs, because I know North has 4 of them and South has 2 of them. So it's much more likely that North has the Jack of Clubs. But I thought, hey, there's a little chance that I might be able to discard my club away. Maybe if I lead a low heart now towards the Queen, South might mistakenly fly up with the King of Hearts. So I let a low heart, and sure enough, South did fly up with the King of Hearts. So now I could eventually play a heart and use my Queen of Hearts to discard my little club and not even have to guess the Jack of Clubs. But there was more juice on this hand. They came back the last trump, and I won it in dummy. And now I let a low heart from the table. And luckily, they thought for a while, and they didn't fly up with the Ace of Hearts. So I got my heart trick in, but that's the good news. But now, in order to capitalize on that, I have to guess the Jack of Clubs. So what I did was I played Ace of Spades and threw away my heart, and I played a club to the Queen. And at that point, like I said earlier, I was really expecting North to have the Jack of Clubs. There was only one little thing. I knew North had the King of Spades and the Ace of Hearts for 7. And the Ace of Clubs is 11. So they really rated to have the Jack of Clubs. The only thing was, before they opened, they actually took a really long time to open. But I did, when they played back a club, I thought about it for a while, and I eventually just played the 10, and it was Jack of Clubs on side. And we made 130 for the best we could do. So this next hand, I picked up this 5-5 hand. And I'm in first chair, and I'm not vulnerable against vulnerable, but I wouldn't even consider opening some weak bid with my hand. I'm very happy to just stay with the field and try to get through the hand. And I went 1 spade, and Joel overcalled 2 clubs, and my right-hand opponent jumped to 4 spades. Now, it's funny, because I hold 5 spades, I know that North has done something funny on the board. Usually, 4 spades would show a weak hand with 5-card support. And that with a strong hand, North is supposed to cubid their partner, cubid clubs to show their partner that they've got a good hand. But I know that North has done this with a hand that wants to play game. There's nothing I can do about it, so I just have to pass. And now Joel's in the balancing chair, and he started thinking, and I'm praying to myself, please just don't bid. Leave me alone. I've got 5 clubs. Stay out of the bidding. But unfortunately, Joel did bid 5 clubs, and North doubled, and that ended the auction. And so now Joel's hand was interesting. He had a tough problem. It looked to him like they just had 5-card support, and so he really had, I mean, I feel like he was in an impossible spot. The person really stuck it to him with the 4-spade bid, and I don't really understand. Somehow it feels like, oh, this happens a lot where people jump to 4 spades, and it benefits them almost as much as it hurts them. And I know that in precision, they get to bid 4 spades with both hand types. They could bid it with I'm jumping to game, or with a weak hand, because their partner is limited to a minimum opening bid. And so they never run the risk of missing a slam. But playing standard, you're gambling when you bid 4 spades here on a 3-card fit. So now Joel saw dummy, and it's just a disaster. It looks like they have almost no chance of making 4 spades, and we were going for a nice little number. He really has to hope that something good happens for him to even escape out for less than their game, if it might make. So they led it to a spades, and he roughed it in his hand. And Joel used a sort of common trick where he wanted to draw trumps right away. So what he did was he played diamonds, dummy short suit, knowing that his opponents were going to be forced to lead trumps for him. His only hope at losing 1 trick in trumps is if South has ace doubleton. If South has ace doubleton of trumps, as long as the opponents have to lead trumps for him, he'll only have to lose 1 trick. But if it's any other suit, or of course if it's Jack 10 doubleton, he will only have to lose the ace as well. But if it's any other suit, he's going to have to lose 2 trump tricks and three diamonds that's already two down. Or sorry, excuse me, that's already three down, and the king of hearts would be the 800, which is the disaster. So now he played a diamond, as I said, and went around to the 10 and king, which was interesting because the jack was now obviously with North, because South would never have won the king holding the jack. So now South did as we expected. They came back a club, and it went, unfortunately, king ace. So now Joel was in a position where he looked like he was dead to rights going for 800. And they played back a spade, and Joel trumped it. So now Joel played queen of clubs and pitched a spade, and another club and pitched a heart. And they won it in South. So he's already lost two clubs and one diamond. Now, South had no choice, really, but to play back a spade, it looked like. And so now North, now when he roughed it, Joel played ace of hearts, queen of hearts, and it was a funny situation that happened. North was actually end played, because North had to duck this heart to give Joel a problem, but then when he won the heart, he had all diamonds left, and he'd have to lead the diamond into his partner. So what South actually had to do was South had to shift a trick. If we can go back a trick earlier, at this point in the hand, when before South played the 10 of spades, they had just won the jack of clubs. So what they actually had to do was they had to play back the 9 of hearts, and when Joel plays the queen, North actually has to duck at that point, which is a really hard play. And then what that would allow, I'm going to flip back to the end of the hand here. What that would allow is that would keep North having the king of spades, that when it goes queen of hearts, ace of hearts, and a heart, North could win the king of hearts and get out their spade, and that would be 800. And by the way, most of this could have been avoided if North had just gone up with the jack of diamonds. I think that North's biggest fear was they didn't want to play trumps themselves. They wanted their partner to be leading trumps, so that's why they played low. So he did well. Joel played it very well to get out for less than their game, but unfortunately it doesn't look like they're going to be even close to making their game. But we'll onwards and upwards.